Going to discuss a very important and interesting chapter from biological science, 9th standard, chapter 17, that is Animal Kingdom, Samachir Kelvi book. So, the learning objectives of this chapter is that the students will be able to understand the classification of animal kingdom. They will be able to identify and study the different groups of animals, the categories, their general characteristics based on organization, symmetry, coelom, and various body activities. Then they will be able to recognize that binomial classification has Latin and Greek words, where the genus name starts with a capital letter and the second name species name starts with a small letter. They will be able to recall the salient features of the each phylum. So now we'll start with the introduction of a variety of living organisms of the millions of species that where microbes, plants, and animals are present in this beautiful world. So our Earth or the living planet consists of millions of species. So to study about the versatile nature of the living organism basis on of their diversity, so we need an orderly and systemic manner so that the study will be made easy. So for that there is a method of arranging organism. That process is known as classification, and taxonomy is the science of classification. The first systematic approach of classification was given by the Swedish botanist Carolus Linnaeus. So basically, the entire living organism were being divided into major 5 kingdoms. Those are Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. So based on the nutrition, cell structure, body organization, and mode of reproduction, this category was being done. So now we'll see the next part of this chapter, where we will be discussing in depth of the concept of this animal kingdom chapter. So where you can observe that each hierarchy has been described. So this is the hierarchy or the basis of classification. That is, it starts with the kingdom where we divided the living organism into 5 kingdoms, right? Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. So this plant or animal kingdom has phylum bar division. Then comes class, order, family, genus, species. So this is the hierarchy of arrangement of the organisms. If we take species, it is the lowest taxonomic category. It has most similarities of organisms. Say for example, in green parrots, if we take, there are variety of green parrots belonging to the same species. Similarly, if we take genus are closely related species. For example, Indian wolf and jackal. So both belong to the category of fox-like living organism. So those animals can be categorized under same gene. Like that family, if we take a tiger and cat, they will come under the same family, right? So large cat family, Felidae. Next, order is the next a number of related families: monkeys, baboons, apes, man, chimpanzees, all will come under the similar orders. Now class is the group of similar orders together form a class, like rat, rabbit, bat, whales, chimpanzee. Those share the features of skin and mammary glands, so this will come under the class Mammalia. Now phylum is the one which is related with say for example different categories of living organism, like mammals are separate phylum, birds are separate phylum, reptiles separate, frogs, like that separate phylums they constitute, which is having the different features. So each phylum will have a distinctive feature. Now coming to the kingdom, it is the major thing where we classify. It's the largest division to which microorganism, plant, and animal belong to. We saw that it was divided as a 5 category. It was done by Whittaker. R.H. Whittaker classified the living organism into major 5 kingdom as Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. Now we'll see what are the basis of classification, or what are the ways this have been classified. So if we observe that, we can see that the level of organization is the first category. So for level of organization, we need to explain a small concept, that is, it starts with a cell, then the group of similar cell which is similar in structure and function will form a tissue. A tissue which is similar in group of structure and function will form the organ, and an organ will further form organ system. By combining with another organs, it will form an organ system. The organ systems, where different organ systems will coordinate each other to perform the living organism. So this is actually the level of organization in any living organism. So based on this category, the classification takes place. See here, animals are grouped as either unicellular or multicellular. In unicellular, there is no division of labor. So in unicellular, there is no division of labor. The single cell will perform the entire function. Whereas in the multicellular category, you can observe that the multicellular organisms will be able to perform different functions using different cell. So there is division of labor in that. Specialized cell will perform the specialized functions. So we saw about the level of organization, that was cell, tissue, organ system, hence forming an organism. So the next category is symmetry. We can observe here symmetry can be of majorly three types. So first is bilateral symmetry, where a living organism can be divided into two equal parts. If we draw the structure of a human can be divided into two equal parts. Here one eye, here one eye, here one ear, here one ear, here one hand, here one leg. So there is similarity between both the sides if we cut the human vertically into two halves. So this kind of similarity is known as symmetry. This is called as bilateral symmetry, where the individual or the organism can be divided into two equal halves. If we take radial symmetry is the one in which the case of starfish or jellyfish, we can cut it into multiple halves and it will produce the similar shape. So it can be divided into many similar halves, right? The next category is asymmetrical organisms. Asymmetrical organisms are those which cannot be divided into two halves. Say for example, we can draw a kind of bird here. Imagine this as a bird. If I divide it into any kind of halves, there is no symmetry in this. So this is known as asymmetrical. So there are three types of symmetry, that is bilateral symmetry, radial symmetry, and asymmetry. So the third category is of germ layers. Germ layers are formed during the embryonical stage. So there are three germ layers again, that is ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. So organism with two germ layers has been mentioned here, but actually there are three germ layers present in the living organism. The outer layer is known as ectoderm, the middle layer is known as mesoderm, and the inner layer is known as endoderm. So the living organism which has only two layers are known as diploblastic, whereas the living organism which has all the three germ layers present in them are known as triploblastic. So you can understand the difference between triploblastic. Triploblastic consists of the organism which has all the three germ layers. The word tri is synonym for three. Similarly, those living organism which only has outer and inner layer, it doesn't have a middle layer. So they have only two layers, hence it is named as diploblastic. The word di is the synonym for two, di or bi. Okay. Next category of classification or basis of classification is based on the coelom. So coelom is nothing but the fluid filled body cavity. So a true body cavity is known as eucoelom. So now we will discuss about that. There are three categories of coelomate animals. One is coelomate or eucoelomate, which is having a true coelom or true body cavity. Pseudocoelom is nothing but they have a false body cavity, and acoelomates, as the name suggests, they do not have any body cavity. So examples of those living organism has also been given here. So here you can see the out picture of our chapter, that is Animalia is generally multicellular. In that cellular level, a single cell or cellular level organization is of porifera. Then comes tissue, organ system level of organization, where it is divided into two kinds, that is radial symmetry and bilateral symmetry. So for radial symmetry, it is coelenterata. Then you can observe Platyhelminthes, Ascaleminthus, it is also known as Nematoda, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Vertebrata, that is Protochordata and Chordata. So now we'll be dividing this animal kingdom into majorly two categories, that is Invertebrata and Chordata, Protochordata, Vertebrata. This is on the basis of the presence of notochord. Notochord is nothing but our spinal cord. So we'll be discussing about this. Notochord is not complete spinal cord, it's something different from that. How we can observe? Notochord is a rod-like structure formed on the mid-dorsal body of the body, mid-dorsal side of the body during the embryonic development. So it persists throughout the life. It may be replaced as backbone in some categories of animals. Now we'll see what is binomial nomenclature. So we discussed Carolus lineae in the first page of this chapter. Now we are going to observe about this binomial nomenclature and the rules for writing a binomial name. So there are majorly 4 rules for writing a binomial name. You will be writing the binomial name with genus and species, where the genus name should start with a capital letter and the species name should start with a small letter. It should be separately underlined if you are writing in handwritten notes. It should be written in italics. It should be typed in italics if you are typing. So while typing it should be in italics, while writing it should be separately underlined, where the genus should be capital and the species should be small letter. So these are the rules for writing a binomial nomenclature name. See, we can read. The first name is called the genus. First letter of the genus should be denoted in the capital, whereas the second letter of the genus, second letter is the species, which should be denoted in a small letter. So you can understand, right? Now we'll move to the next category. That is, there are some common binomial name given here, out of which most easiest one is the humans. Humans are known as Homo sapiens. So as it is typed, it is been typed here in the italics format. If you are writing it in your note, you should be underlining the genus and species separately. Okay. Say for example, if you are writing Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens in your notebook or answer sheet, you should be underlining that separately. Okay, fine. Now we'll move to the next topic, that is invertebrata. So in the category of invertebrata, you can observe all the living organism except that Echinodermata, Protochordata and Vertebrata. So till Mollusca, every phylum is going to be invertebrates. So for each phylum we will be discussing the content. So the first are Porifera. As the name suggests, what is pori? It means pores. So they are generally sponges like structure. See, they are generally sponge like structure which is aquatic in nature. They have cellular level of organization. They have many pores called as ostia, which are the water canal system of the body. So this is a structure of a sponge, means it is a water aquatic habitat or marine habitat living organism. It has many ostia which is responsible for the exchange of food, water, all those stuffs. So the body contains many spicules, that is their skeletal framework. So it's a very primitive living organism. This is the first phyla. Second phyla is your Coelenterata. It is also known as Cnidaria. The Coelenteratas are also the aquatic habitat, mostly marine and freshwater. Here starts the multicellular level of organization. So the example is given as jellyfish. They have tentacles, nidoblast and nematocyst. So they exhibit polymorphism. That is, polymorphism is nothing but they have the ability to change their shape, their ability to change their shape and structure. Third phylum is Platyhelminthes. They are generally flatworms. They are acoelomate, that is without a body cavity, suckers and hookers. So this will, the word hermaphrodite, the worms are hermaphrodite, means both the male and female part of the living organism is present in the same living organism. So it's not separate, it's not in the separate organism, it is present in the same uh, living organism. Both the female and male reproductive parts are present in a same living organism. The fourth phylum is Aschelanthes. It is also known as Nematoda. So the Nematoda category are asymmetrical, bilaterally symmetrical. They have a pseudocoelom, that is false coelom, free living soil parasite. So these are roundworms. The difference between this and this is that the third category is flatworm and the fourth category is roundworms. Okay. Next coming the segmented worms. Here comes the earthworm, our farmer's friend. So the difference between these two categories, that here you will be observing segmentations and annuli, that is the ring like structure. Here they are also hermaphrodites. Now the next category is Arthropoda, animals with jointed leg. This is the largest phylum. This is the largest phylum where you can observe a process called as the casting of and regrowing of exoskeleton is molting. So this process is only observed in this particular category of phylum. The body cavity is filled with hemolymph. Hemolymph is blood, generally blood, but in different color. It may not be in, it can be also green color for some insect. So generally all categories of insect will come under this category, this phylum. Hence it is the largest phylum of the entire animal kingdom. So the second largest phylum is your Mollusca, where it is the diversified group of living marine fishes. It has a head, muscular, fruit and visceral organs. So for example your snail, it is having a calciferous shell for protection. Okay, so now we'll move to the Echinodermata, that is spiny skinned animals. As the name suggests, you can give a wonderful example of starfish, and it has radial symmetry, as we discussed in the first place. So it's radially symmetrical. Then it is also available as bilaterally symmetrical. That is the larval stage of this particular living organism is bilaterally symmetrical. When it grows as adult, it becomes radially symmetrical one. So this is the salient feature of this phylum. Now coming to Hemichordata or Protochordata, this can also be called as Protochordata, where it is having a bilaterally symmetrical structure. It is coelomate. They are non-chordate and chordate features. Okay, they are non-chordate, but during their embryonical stage there is formation of notochord. They have the chordatic features. Okay, they the example for are given as balanoglossus. Okay, next category is chordata, where there is the presence of notochord, dorsal nerve cord and paired gill pouches. So the phylum chordata can be further classified into 5 other subphylum. We'll be observing that. So it's mainly divided into prochordata and vertebrata. So prochordata are those which are considered as forerunners of vertebrates. So they have the further subphylum Urochordata and Cephalochordata. So I will explain you this properly. We can easily draw a structure for explanation. That is, chordata can be divided into protochordata and vertebrata, where the protochordata can be further subdivided into Urochordata and Cephalochordata. So this is going to be the subphylum. These are the part of chordata. Now we will be learning about each. We will be learning about Urochordata first. So notochord is present only in the tail region of free living larvae. Adults are sessile forms or and mostly degenerate. The body is covered with tunic or test. Example, Ascidine. Now coming to the subphylum Cephalochordata. They are small fish-like marine chordates with unpaired dorsal fin. The notochord extends throughout the length of their body, amphiochus. Next, coming to the vertebrata, this can be classified into 5 other phylums. Okay, we'll start with each. The first is cyclostomes. They are jawless vertebrates. They do not have a jaw. Their body is elongated and eel-like. They have a circular mouth, skin is scaly. Okay, hagfish and lamprey are example. Next is species. This is the category of fishes. So they are poikilothermic, cold-blooded, aquatic, and for fishes, you know that they have gills for respiration. They have fins and they have tails. The function of the tail is for locomotion or movement. So the tail is responsible for the direction of movement of the fishes. So this was about the fish. Next we'll go to the next category, that is amphibia. Amphibians are those which can live both in aquatic and lithospheric habitat, both land and water. They have the ability to live both land and water. Say for example our frogs have the ability to live both in land and water, right? So they come under the category of amphibians. They are four-legged tetrapods, dual adaptation. They live both in, that is why the word amphibian, both. Okay, they have the ability to survive. The heart is three-chambered. For pieces it was two-chambered heart. For amphibian it is three-chambered heart. Then comes birds, that is aves. But before that you will be seeing a classification, that is reptilia. The repper means to crawl or to creep. So those organisms like lizard, snake, tortoise have the ability to crawl. So they are fully adapted to live in land. Their body is covered with epidermal scales. So their respiration is through lungs. So here organs are well developed. Organs are started to develop. Now in the class aves, we are able to see the distinctive feature is that their pneumatic bones, that is their bones are filled with air so that their body is lightweight. The feathers and this lightweight bones are the salient feature of the aves, so that they will be able to fly. So the ability to fly is their adaptive feature. The next one is, you can add this to your knowledge, that is state bird of Tamil Nadu is common emerald dove. Okay, this was about a interesting fact. Coming to the class mammalia, that is the mammalia consist of, the mamma means breast, so they are warm blood animals. They have hairs covered in their body. They have sweat and sebaceous gland. The salient feature is that they have the mammary glands and the external ears or pinnae is present. Then they can be divided into two categories, that is oviparous and viviparous. Oviparous is the egg laying category, whereas viviparous directly give birth to the young one. Okay, so both are the examples given for mammalia category. So the phylum Chordata has been given in a beautiful flow chart. So you can observe the subphylum Urochordata, Cephalochordata and Vertebrata, where these two can be named as Prochordata. The Urochordata and Cephalochordata can together be named as Prochordata, that is primitive. And the subphylum Vertebrata is separate because it is having the important classes, that is species, amphibians, reptilia, aves and mammalia. These are the important classes of Vertebrata. It can be divided into with jaws and without jaws, where the without jaws, the Vertebrata is having only one category, that is class Cyclostomata. The most important is that the Vertebrata with jaws, that is the 5 categories of species, amphibians, reptiles, aves and mammals. So here are some important points to remember. So the biggest vertebrate is blue whale. Then classification is the ordering of organism into groups based on their similarities, dissimilarities and relationships. Animals are grouped as unicellular, multicellular based on their level of organization. Radial symmetry is the body parts arranged around the central axis. Bilateral symmetry along the bilateral axis, only two parts I told. Then the coelom is the body fluid filled cavity. It separates the digestive tract from the body wall. Animals which do not possess notochord are invertebrates, and which possess notochord is called chordates. The prochordates are considered as the forerunner of that is ancestor like. So from this, the next category of living organism was being evoluted with help of adaptation for survival. So here is the glossary given. So this was all about the very important chapter, animal kingdom. Thank you.